anyways. We'll see.
Say 3, 2, or what? But he didn't say 3, 2, or what? You got that URL?
Oh, yeah, man. Hold on, goddamn it.
Where is the URL?
Damn it, man, I'm a doctor.
We are live.
Hold on. Well, yeah,
Live.
they can hear you, so that's good.
We are live, but we are not starting the show yet. This is the behind the scenes stuff you guys get to see for a few minutes before we start.
Yeah, as we find out our fucking URL.
Yeah, because we have to share
Can't be myself.
This is a blooper
keep
reel.
everything going. So yeah, kind of a blooper reel, but
Kind
more
of.
just behind the scenes.
This is flat out blooper reel.
Yeah, this is our crazy talk.
Zipper fly up, by the way.
Yeah, I don't have a fly. I'm wearing basketball shorts, so there'll be no fly available.
I got called out on that one.
Everett's got his head very deep in the computer. Sean's shuffling through some paperwork. We're all ready.
Got the link.
Got the link. Okay, so the link is going up.
That's important.
So before we start the show, I am going to tell you, since you're watching this now, you're getting exclusive sneak previews. So go ahead and go right now to the Facebook page and get the link. Click it.
They don't need the link if they're watching it.
Dude, that's just some Inception shit. Wait a minute.
If they've somehow already found this, they don't need it.
They need it. Yeah, well, I guess nonetheless you can go see our Facebook page. That's why this is a blooper reel, Sean. You're
I told you.
Oh well. Click.
Clickety clack.
I can't wait to start the show. So excited.
Well,
I
it's
just
New
want-
York. It's Saturday night.
I just want to do a bloody show, you know. All I want to do is a show. We just like, get a show done, and then we're done. I want to do.
All right. You can go ahead and do your shares.
I can do my shares. All right, so cool. We got to share this stuff real quick, and then we'll start our show. So, Red said he gave me exclusive sneak previews. All right, I'm in the process.
Okay, I'm going to go real quick and just make sure that our audio sounds good.
You just go real quick and make sure our audio sounds good.
Maybe what?
All right, we are live. Give us a click. Post it. Gotta get that share on. Sounds like I'm saying Sharon. Gotta get my share
I
on.
thought shared C-H-E-R. You know.
Share. Oh, share.
Sean
Oh,
was saying share. Yeah.
what's that song? You know the song that they do.
If I knew, I wouldn't admit it.
What the hell is it? From Groundhog's Day, you know, the song. What's the song from Groundhog's Day?
You got me,
I got you, babe. Dun, 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 dun.
All right, guys, you about ready?
I am ready.
All right, well, our sound sounds okay enough.
Our sound sounds okay enough. That sounds promising to me. Shut that door.
All right.
Let's get this party started. Get all the freaks out of here.
Okay. Yeah, we're recording.
Did you say accordion?
There's our timer.
There is our...
See it?
I do not. I see it. Okay. So are we ready?
Yeah, you're.
Enough with that behind the scenes stuff. Let's start this show. Welcome to Surreal Talk, a lineupmedia.fm production brought to you this week and every week by audible.com. Go to our website, surrealtalkpodcast.com, and find the banner for Audible to create your own 30-day trial account and get a free audiobook download. And if you're looking to do some shopping on Amazon, again, visit our website. Click the Amazon banner, and anything that you purchase during your shopping session will directly support our show. Did you guys hear that?
I did, actually. I caught it.
I didn't say nick of time.
I was ready for
I
it.
said, welcome to Surreal Talk.
Well done. Well done.
So this is the premiere episode since we've rebranded the show. New name, same crazy guys.
Thank God.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't think our audience can handle another change after last time.
Oh, I know. It was bad.
This should be the last time.
This will be the last.
Pardon me, big change.
Okay, so it is, again, I'm Eric, and we are live streaming on YouTube, so if you're listening to the podcast, you might want to go and check that out. It won't be live when you see it, but
Yeah, you're a couple days behind at this point.
and if you ever wondered what our ugly mugs look like, all you have to do is just go and click that link and see, well, my beautiful face and Sean and Everett's ugly mugs you'll be able to see at any time. So I guess I just spoiled it and gave away my next part. It's, again, me, Eric, Big E, he's back with us, and then Sean, which was with us on our Georgia Guidestones episode, is back with us again today. How you doing, Sean?
Good time.
What's up, Sean?
Be back. How you doing, Everett?
I'm doing great. You are here with us on our premiere episode of Surreal Talk.
Oh, glad to be here.
And,
Thanks, man.
We got a really good topic today.
What are we talking about this week?
We are going to talk about the biggest robbery ever enacted on the American people.
That's like your opinion, man.
Maybe
The federal,
Hey,
no,
it's just like
no, there's
your
no
opinion.
opinion there. That is fact.
This
We're
might-
going to talk about the Federal Reserve.
this might be the greatest trick that ever pulled.
It very well could be.
So to speak.
So you guys came here for a show, and that's what you're going to get. So follow me, co-conspirators, as we dive deep into the mysteries of the Federal Reserve.
Oh, God, I was expecting something horrible there.
No, I get better every time.
Stories full of lies and exaggerations.
Ooh, there it is. That's Sean's catchline. He likes that.
You know I was gonna sling that in there.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so when we start talking about the Federal Reserve, something I want to say right off the top is that it's not federal. And it's like, okay, so
What do you mean?
so your money. We have
Is it state run?
No, it's none of
Privately
the
owned.
above. You know, you think about your money, you think, okay, we have a Department of Treasury. Like, oh, they should be, the ones in charge of issuing the money, printing it, and be in charge of all of that, right?
Right.
Okay, yeah. So no,
So this isn't run by the government.
they are as federal as FedEx. Okay, I'm just saying they are not. They have nothing to do.
I like the way you
with
put
the
that.
federal government at all. Yeah, so they are in charge of printing. They printing all the money that we have. They control the interest rates, the markets. There's so much that they do, and they answer to absolutely no one. So that's therein lies the problem.
So not even the president can change.
No, he has.
something they
He
do?
has nothing on the Federal Reserve. No.
So it's the president has about as much control as he does over Walmart.
Fair enough. Yes.
Hmm.
You got about the same amount of money. No.
Everybody wants.
But yeah. So, well, the Federal Reserve was started in 1913, and what happened was they had a secret meeting on Jekyll Island in Georgia.
This is really interesting, actually. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
And they had a secret meeting, and it was all of the major players in the game back then. And when I say that, I mean like the richest men in
Which,
America.
The big three who built America. Andrew Carnegie was steel, Rockefeller was Standard Oil, and J.P. Morgan
Being the financial
being
division,
the financial
basically. Yeah.
owned the banks, and then he also actually owned that island that they met on Jekyll Island.
Really? Oh, I did not know that. That's very interesting. So also those guys and another couple that were there were Henry P. Davidson and Benjamin Strong. And what that meeting was, it was the actual conception of what becomes the Federal Reserve System. And it's crazy because they had to do that in secret. They took trains there and gave the servants only their first names. They didn't want anyone knowing.
That's probably
where
because
they
this has
were.
been tried a few times before, and it's failed twice before. I think the creation of a national bank.
Rich businessmen meeting in secret. Yeah, that's
Well, I mean the creation of a national bank has been tried a few times before up at that point.
Yeah. I believe Sean has a few examples of that. I know one personally. Lincoln, he denied the
Well, yeah, let me expand on that.
There you go. Go ahead.
Really, the whole idea of a Federal Reserve Bank, Thomas Jefferson tried to stop immediately, but throughout history, basically, he had up until 1913, he'd been able to stop that. So all throughout history, everyone's been killed off pretty much.
Yeah, well, I know that Lincoln, they had approached him, and when I say they, I mean like the Rothschild dynasty and a lot of rich bankers from Europe, and they wanted to start a central bank here in America, and he was totally opposed to it, and he denied any influence. He didn't want to owe anybody anything. So we know what happened to Abraham Lincoln.
Lincoln was killed.
You think
for
that
it.
had something to do with it?
I mean,
Well,
I'm going to reach a little bit and say that it's not out of the ballpark to think that, because JFK, a week before he was assassinated, he wrote up the executive order 11110, and what that was that allowed him to it gave the federal government
the right to create its own money.
exactly backed by our silver, and it basically cut the Federal Reserve out.
Sure.
And that was 1 week before he died.
And it ain't just him. James Garfield tried to do the same thing in 1881, assassinated. Lincoln, as you said, assassinated.
Right. I mean, so that's why I said this is not outside of the realm of possibility. This is everyone that's tried to deny influence from the rich bankers and stop the Federal Reserve, stop a central banking institution in America has just been eliminated. Yeah, and so what happened, they went onto the island, they had the meeting, and then on December 23rd, while all members of while all members of Congress and Senate were at home with their families celebrating Christmas, this is 2 days before Christmas, 1913, President, Woodrow Wilson signed the Federal Reserve Act. And what that did was it gave the Federal Reserve control over America's finances.
So they pretty much snuck it in right before Christmas when everybody was going home for Christmas.
I mean, if we know the federal government, that's them to a T. Let's sneak it underneath the rug. So
make it subtext or something.
Yeah,
Subsection 3, Article 5.
I mean,
Paragraph 7.
That's them. You know what I mean?
We create a federal trust. I thought this was just about parking.
Already right off the bat, we've got a lot of shady stuff going on, and we're not even 2 minutes into the history here. You know what I mean? They're meeting on a secret island. No names are given. You know what I mean? They're taking over the finances of an entire country. They name themselves the Federal Reserve when, in fact, they are not federal at all.
Not at all. And those 5 men that met at that meeting to create the Federal Reserve.
Those were the powerhouses.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Those were the Walmarts,
those are your modern day Sam Waltons.
Waltons.
Yeah, those were those guys back then. Those were the guys. Those were the ones responsible for all your major decisions financially.
And this is all facts. So
yeah, exactly.
That's
the thing about this Federal Reserve thing. I mean, you can call it conspiracy all you want, but I mean everything here is provable. This is actual.
This is documented business.
Yeah, this is legit.
It's not like seeing a UFO in the sky.
So here, this will go to testament just how much power the Federal Reserve has. Former chairman and CEO of the Federal Reserve, Alan Greenspan, has been quoted on the record saying there is no other agency of the government that can outrule and overrule any actions that we take. He said that right out to
Well, I mean, if they're not an actual part of the government, he's not wrong.
Right, but I mean, again, you control all the money for America. Like we talked about with Civil War, you need to be put in check.
Well, why would he say a statement like this? Is he trying to put people at ease who don't trust the government, or is he? Because if you think about it,
he's being an asshole, like rubbing it in your face.
What if he's talking to people?
Agency in the government can take you. We're the best.
What if he's talking to people who don't trust the government? He wants to put those people at ease and say, hey, we don't actually report to the government, so you don't got to worry about the government shitty.
I wouldn't think that statement would put anyone at ease.
No, not at all.
Maybe that's what they were going for.
Eventually, you get so high up
These
the ladder.
people are smarter than that.
The Secretary of State is looked after from the Vice President. The President's looked after, the President looks after the Vice President.
Right.
Eventually, you get to a top where they're unchecked, and that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah. They are the highest form of financial. They're the highest financial institution that we have here in America. They are our central bank.
And if you own the finances, you own the military, you own the economy, you own everything.
Okay, so here's a little breakdown that I found that was interesting about the Federal Reserve. So here's how it works. If the U.S. needs money, the United States needs money. Instead of issuing their own money backed by their own gold, silver, and or credit, they issue treasury bonds, and then they sell those bonds to the Federal Reserve. The Fed buys these bonds with money that they create out of thin air, which I'll get to later. I know you got. I can see it. Like, you son of a bitch, don't say this out of thin air.
No, I'll get to that later.
Okay, and then they charge interest on the money. Okay, so what it is that there will never be enough money in circulation or in existence to back that debt. Because
they say the majority of money is electronic.
Right. Okay. So what they're doing is they're creating the money and they're charging interest on it. Okay, but the money is it's nowhere. So there'll never be enough money in circulation. Exactly.
That's not money, right? So that bond's backed by nothing. So
it essentially makes us all debt slaves, and that's a very popular term among conspiracy theorists. I like to say debt slaves. If anyone that's knowledgeable about this subject knows what a debt slave is, and that's kind of what it is.
Anyone who's in debt should know what a debt slave is.
Yeah, and
I think we've all been there at one point or another. Had thousands in credit card debt,
guilty,
or car note, or whatever you got, mortgage, double mortgage.
Oh yeah, everyone is. And
the 1%ers, the ones that send us that that extra money for our
debt.
debt.
I said 99.9.
Yeah, so the Federal Reserve, I mean, like I said, it's a bad deal, man. It really kind of is, you know.
The trickle down effect, yeah, it affects everyone.
They set all of our interest rates too, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's again another thing that's terrible about it because okay, so what that's supposed to do is
Who would you rather have take that responsibility then?
you know.
You see,
That's-
here's where I was going with
Yeah,
this,
that's
you know.
difficult. That's difficult because we talked about this too. Like, who would do it?
The solution to this is, it ain't like normal, you know, normal things. The solution would be terrible.
So what we should do is create a centralized bank with somebody on top to run
So
it.
you're talking about so it's basically a new world order.
No, he's talking about exactly what we got. Is what he's talking about.
That's what I'm saying. We need to create what we have, but we need to trust the people.
So
who
for
have
those who
it.
don't understand, and I'm ignorant to a lot of stuff and was ignorant to this fact until today. What the Federal Reserve does is whenever Biggie's talking about they control the interest is, okay, so if the economy's bad, they can lower interest rates. And what that does is it gets people out there buying houses, spending money in the economy, and it makes the economy actually flourish. So when the economy's doing really good, they raise interest rates, you know, because they figure that they can. You know, because the economy's in
They
good
do it
shape.
to level it out.
Yeah, to level it out. So that's what.
And then when we're in an economic downturn, they'll lower it.
Yeah,
You know,
they'll
that way-
lower the
that way-
interest
that way
rates.
banks can give out more loans.
Exactly, people spend the
And
money.
people can spend more money. thus
It
boosting
floats the economy. Exactly. So that's in a good sense of the word. That's what they're supposed to be doing. But really, do we want someone to have all that control? They control how much.
Somebody's got to have, in my opinion.
Right.
Well,
it's just the
If you try to make it regional, then you go back to the way it was before. Then you have 10,000 different types of money floating around. You got your North Carolina dollars or Florida
Okay, yeah,
Confederacy
fair enough.
dollars.
Yeah, you got your
Yeah.
Confederacy money and your North money.
And then
Union.
you got all kinds of different money. If
Damn
you don't have
red
it centralized.
Yeah, you got to have one, but you got to have a currency, because if you're selling beans, if I'm trying to sell you beans, and for your pies,
I mean, they're giving
you don't want my damn beans.
A bean pie.
Then,
it's either barter or cash.
exactly.
You
want
can
my
say
beans,
gold,
you
but
don't
that's
like
barter.
beans,
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Right.
It makes it easier for us to exchange. It makes an easier economy.
I understand.
Well,
Money.
right. It's like a universal item that you can use to buy things that money. I mean, so if you don't want, like you said,
Are you seriously trying to explain money right now? How that works?
Right. Yeah. Gosh,
I think we fell into that.
Yeah, we did. We started playing paper money.
We fell down that rabbit hole.
Well, I mean, this is the premiere episode of Surreal Talk, so.
That's all right. I'm
why
glad I
not
stopped you
explain
when I
to
did.
people- Yeah, why not explain to people how
So
money
here's
works?
what money
You
is,
take it
children.
and buy things with it.
Well, I was just saying,
No, I get you.
if I was trying to trade you, cabbage for your wood, you don't like cabbage. Well,
Maybe I do, maybe I don't.
It's like I can't. I'm not taking fucking cabbage. I got
Exactly.
all this good wood. I can trade it to somebody else.
Exactly.
Somebody's probably got tobacco or something that I'm interested in. This guy's got prehistoric Marlboros. Give me some of those.
Prehistoric
Marlboros.
Yeah. Yeah, cabbage for all that.
But yeah, that's the point.
Nails, sir, nails.
Anyway, to move on to there. The thing is that gets me about the whole Federal Reserve thing too is that, like you said, it's pretty much an independently owned bank. It's just like any other bank, Merrill Lynch, Countrywide, Bank of America. It's just the biggest bank. That's what the Federal Reserve Bank is. They put federal on it to make it sound government
And legit, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
really, it's not. It might as well be called.
Their name is a
JP
definite
Morgan
ploy. Their name is a definite total distraction from what the hell they actually
This is a
are.
privately owned bank that's run by 5 people who none of whom are elected.
No, exactly. And I believe you're talking about the Federal Open Market Committee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
That's who's at the top of the Federal Reserve is the Federal Open
And
Market
what exactly do they do?
They're the ones that make all the decisions. Those 5 people decide
What decisions?
all of the interest decisions, all of the decisions on whether there's
what your mortgage rate on your house is.
how much we're going to buy from these bonds from the government. If the government needs money, how much money we're willing
So what
to
does the
give.
government say? We want 500 billion in new money.
Okay,
We'll give you a treasury note for it. Well, does the reserve say, well,
we got to get back to.
we'll give you 450 million for that 500
You know,
million?
I honestly
No,
don't know, but I know that those
no,
decisions
no.
have to go through this committee.
Is that something that can be done,
Yes,
basically?
that can be done. That's what they do, basically. Government comes to them, says, hey, I want, let's say, $500 trillion, or obviously that's too high. Let's just say, they come to them every, what was it?
What was enough to buy 2 Snickers
They say they do 80 to 100 million transactions per month.
per month? Oh,
So-
with the government?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So the Federal Reserve does between 80 and 100
So the
million
Federal
transactions
Reserve,
per
an
month
independent bank,
with the government.
is doing this much with the government. That's a lot of government business. So,
I mean, they're definitely affiliated just
even-
based on but they're not run or operated by the government.
no, not at all. No, not at all. This,
But obviously they're affiliated because that was the sense that
This
they
is
were
ran
created.
by 5 men. You know,
Yeah,
so-
yeah. Well, and a woman. The chick that sits at the top is
Chick?
yeah.
What have we been talking about?
Oh yeah. The
woman, the
female that
lady.
sits at the top is Janie yelling.
Thank you.
What are you yelling for?
I mean, yeah, that may be one. That may be.
I heard she's very loud in those meetings.
that may be the most powerful woman in the
Janie
world. Though.
yelling. Yeah, very good. Yeah, because she controls.
I mean, even the president answers to her. In the end.
Yeah, because
you know.
they all have to. I guess when they make their budgets, they have to kind of discuss with the Federal Reserve how much money
You
they
know,
can
like
get.
when the
I
government
mean,
says we need $50
you know,
million,
and folks, we need to kind of do a disclaimer
government
here.
prints it.
We do reserve the right to be wrong from time to time. So when there's stuff kind of like that, like well,
Reserve it.
maybe-
We
we own that
We own
right.
that
We don't reserve it. We own that right. But when there's stuff that comes up like this that hasn't been talked about in our research or anything like that, like we just said, how does the federal government communicate with the Federal Reserve? We don't really know that, so we can speculate all day. And if you've got the idea or you want to tell us that we're wrong, you can always comment on the live stream.
comment anywhere.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah,
It's as simple as an email.
you think so?
I think so. Yes. You know.
Emails aren't that simple. Ask Hillary.
I guess not.
You don't give her any trouble for that. You love her. You know you love her.
Hillary for president 2016.
You know she's
Hillary for
Anyway.
president 2016.
let's get away from that.
Sticker off.
Yeah, that's yeah. I seen Biggie. I seen your bumper sticker.
I don't put bumper stickers on my vehicle. You know that.
Yeah, you had one time. I got a picture. It says 9/11 was an inside job,
You did put that on my car though.
and I got a picture.
I did have it. That's true. Anyway,
But so things are just a tad different when the Federal Reserve buys bonds from Wall Street. So Wall Street's kind of different. So what happens there is the Federal Reserve buys bonds on Wall Street, and then the major okay, so Wall Street needs money.
sure,
They borrow money from the Federal Reserve
sure.
in the form of selling them bonds. Okay, so Wall Street's now got the money. They lend it down to their major financial institutions, dealers, really, if you will. Kind of a weird way to say it, but they're the dealers almost. Okay, so you got Wall Street up here. They lend it down to their different financial institutions, your banks, your J.P. Morgans, your Chase, your Citibanks, all that stuff. And I watched a video today that kind of explained this really good, and explained to me like I'm 5, Eli 5, and I like that. So we're gonna keep this real cut and simple with this. We're gonna go. The bank gets $1,000 from the Federal Reserve. Okay, the Federal Reserve has a rule that you cannot loan out all that money that you get. You have to keep 10% in your reserves.
No, that's not how it was. If a
Yes.
bank gets $1,000, they have to keep 10% in the reserve.
In their reserves, that's
No,
exactly
in the
what it
Federal
says.
Reserve.
No, in their reserves.
It's in your. I thought.
In your vault. No,
and then they
it's
could
the
loan
same
out the other 90. Is that what it was?
Exactly right. So they keep that for the reserves, and they're able to loan out the other 90. So therein lies the problem. Okay, so the cash money is still in the vault. That $1,000 is still in the vault, and the bank gives you a check for $900. You know what I mean? And they're loaning you $900. Cool. So now there's $1,900 available in our economy because if the bank has to,
And really, all that
someone can come and
$1,900
draw that $1,000 out.
And really, all that $1,900 is a bond or a promissory note.
Yeah,
In the end, that's all
I
it
mean,
is.
essentially, yes, you're absolutely right.
It's
Tim.
not
That's all it is.
gold. It's not backed by anything. Nothing in form
No,
of
that's
nothing like
what I'm getting at. Now there's $1,900 available in the economy, 900 of which is new money created from nothing, and that's where I get that created from nothing there because it's not being backed by anything, and it wasn't there before. They started out with $1,000. Now there's $1,900.
Well, it's not being backed by anything other than the fact that I say you owe me.
Exactly,
Yeah,
Which
so
means
there's
you
no
have the money.
behind it. So there's no money
It's
behind that
basically-
money.
basically
But
it's-
they
it's
have
a-
that money.
It's a promissory note.
The money in their hand is the money.
But what I'm getting at is if they need to use that
So
money,
whenever
they will.
if I loan you $50 and I don't have anything backing it up, does that mean the money
You're not a financial institution that
But it's
deals
the
with
same-
numbers as large as that needs to have
if I
that sort of
learn,
insurance.
okay, say I learned you, say we're buddies, but we're rich.
This is an economy.
Yeah, we're not talking about our $20 loan.
Listen, you bastards. Say we're good buddies, and I loan you $50 million. We're businessmen. We're high up there,
Oh yeah.
and I don't.
Soros and whatnot.
You get my point. If we're that rich, and I loan you $50 million, and it's not backed, did I just create that money out of nowhere? Is it now completely unsecured?
No, because you had that money before in your bank. That was your
the
money.
government.
belonged to
Okay,
you.
then what does the bank give you whenever you take that loan? They give you the $900 that they already had. Say that you take
They
it
cut
off.
you a check.
Yeah, they cut you a check, which you cash out immediately for that $900 they have in their vault.
You're asking where that
Maybe.
money comes from. I mean, they simply
Maybe because
Assume
what
that
if,
they
what
do.
if, what if, what if you're buying a house? Okay,
Assume
so,
they
but
need
what
to
I'm
pay for
getting
that
at-
house in cash.
So you go and hand $80,000 over right to a realtor.
You
Cash.
could.
You give them a check. You could, but you don't. You give them a check.
See, you're going on a lot of assumptions here.
Well, and I just gave the disclaimer.
Okay, fair enough. But I'm just saying that money does exist. It is real. Because if you give somebody a check that cannot be cashed, then what good is the check?
But you can cash the check.
That's my point. So if it's not
But
secured,
they're cashing the check. See, okay, so
Well,
they got to have the money in their vaults to cash that
Okay, here
check.
you go.
With a bond.
say I get the loan. I spend my loan on my car. And
How'd you spend that money?
I'm getting to that.
Did you pull it out of the bank?
Okay, follow me here.
Okay.
Okay. So I buy a car from you. I buy your
Right.
car. The guy who gets the money from the loan, which is you, because I already got the loan and I gave you the money from the loan, puts it in his bank account.
What if he doesn't have a bank account, just keeps cash?
Well, in that rare instance, because the majority of Americans do have a bank account, so you do have that anomaly going on. But
The anomaly of exactly how it works.
okay, so the guy puts it in his bank, and then boom, the deposits and their reserves are soaring again. When in fact it was already in there in the first place, and it came from nothing.
Well, true, but what I'm talking about is what happened basically in 1929. Is whenever people run to the bank and try to get their money out, and it's not all there. So what you're saying is we're in a bad situation, just like again when the markets collapse and all the
Exactly,
bank
because
runs
there's so much money, whether it be in bank accounts, computer, digitally. There's
So
so
how's
much
it a
money
problem?
floating around that if everyone wanted to get all of their money at the same time, there's not enough money to get all. There's not enough
But doesn't
currency
the-
in existence to pay
I understand that.
everyone that is
and
owed.
that's due to interest rates.
And that is
being-
to pay everyone that is owed. That's why I say that we'll never be able to pay back that debt. That's the whole deal
Because-
behind debt slaves, because there's not enough money or currency in existence, even printed, to pay back everyone that is owed money. And whether it be by a bank, by a federal government. if
That's
you were
fair. I
trying
mean,
to-
I believe
if
that,
you were
but I'm
trying
just
to
saying the way
cash
you were
out
explaining it,
right now,
just-
if you were trying to cash out right now, we pay China this, boom, we pay off our debt, boom, boom, pay off everything, boom, boom,
Sure,
boom.
sure.
There's not enough money or currency in existence to pay off everyone that is owed. In our banks, in our vaults, in the Federal Reserve, in Fort Knox, and everywhere.
Well, not money doesn't have to exist as a paper to make it real.
That's what I'm talking about. That is exactly what I'm talking about. That it pretty much does.
As
have
long
to
as
be
you have
real.
as long as you have faith in a currency.
An IOU is what you're saying. You're saying
That's all
a
money is.
promissory note, an
that-
IOU.
when you look
That's
at
all
a
cash.
dollar bill, it says this is only worth what we say it is, basically.
Yeah, yeah,
Actually, since enacted, they said it's dropped, what, 200%?
yeah. So
That's not my point, though.
no,
You know.
what I think what Sean's getting at is when the Federal Reserve took over
That's
the
why-
dollar,
that's why I throw that out
you want to
there.
say the dollar's worth 100%. Now today, the dollar is worth 4% of what it was when the Federal Reserve took over in 1913 and took control of our
I
economic.
mean,
That's fine. That's
Everything.
inflation. Yeah.
basically, I'm just going back to, how the Federal Reserve, this whole idea was a bad idea. And
Oh,
it's
it's a terrible idea.
And how it's going downhill fast.
No, it was a good idea for a few.
Oh,
So it was a great idea for a few.
Oh, yeah, for 5 people, it was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, some people get fucking rich.
What do they get out of it?
In the world,
Power and money. I mean, what else
Well,
is
how
there
do
to
they-
get? That's what everybody wants.
Basically,
Am I asking too
well,
many questions here?
money and
How
power.
do they get money out of it? What?
well, this all started back
because
with
the
the Rothschilds.
because the
Do
federal
they get a
government
salary
has to
from
pay
the
back
Fed?
in interest. The Fed makes money. The Fed, yeah, oh yeah, if you work for the federal government, I'm sure, or the Federal Reserve, I'm sure you. Make.
So those 5 people having just a crazy salary.
It could be they could have stock in the Federal Reserve. Or
Could?
even the people that brought, yeah, could. Like I said,
No,
speculation, things that are coming up that didn't come up in the
they're
research.
They said that they have ties into banks, the oil. One of their biggest things is the I can't remember what it's called, but it's the biggest oil company in the world. It's run by one of them.
One of the guys that's in,
Yeah, by one of the 5.
Let me ask you guys
So-
this: if money isn't so real, and it basically boils down to an IOU, why do you have faith in the $20 bill somebody gives you or the paycheck you
because
get?
I have to.
Because I'm forced to.
Because I have
Exactly
to.
my point. So money is completely real.
Well, it's as
No,
real as
so forced perspective makes somebody 20 feet tall and somebody 3 feet tall.
You ever heard the saying, "It is what it is"?
Well, it's
I
real.
won't
If you have to
trust
have
as far
that-
as I could throw you.
if you
How
could take
about
this
that
money
one?
down to the
Federal
store-
government.
It's real until it isn't real.
You could take this bill
It's
down.
real until you go to try to get it all out of the bank.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how real it is.
It's real until there's no bank.
There you go. And
Think about if
this
it's
is the
zombie
end
time.
game.
How we love to talk about the apocalypse.
Oh yes.
Then that
We
$20
love the
bill ain't
zombie
worth a
apocalypse.
goddamn thing.
Yeah, right. That's
So
my point.
only during the point at which there's a society that believes in this money, this IOU, is it worth anything. That's my whole point.
Well, at the rate
Right,
they're
so
driving up
you have
interest and
You have to have
inflation,
confidence in
They're
it.
driving this money down to nothing. I mean, in less than 100 years, we've dropped to 4 cents.
But it's still
4
worth
cents on
something.
the dollar.
4 cents on the dollar.
But
compared to
across
what it was.
across the world, everybody's
about
currencies does the same thing. Maybe not at
Well,
the same rate,
well, let
but
me go
every
back to
currency
this.
in the world drops.
I mean, really, the Rothschilds, who a lot of say are the fathers of Illuminati.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rothschilds have
Some
more,
say
they're estimated at $500 trillion.
that's impossible. That's more than the entire GDP of the world.
That's what people, and that's said to be a low estimate. Now, I've looked that up, and that's been a quote. So, And the Rothschilds basically all started this with the Napoleonic Wars. They basically backed all.
How much did you say?
500 trillion.
Because the GDP or the GWP of the world in 2014 was 75 trillion.
Well,
So it's like
that's the no.
9
though.
years.
If you know, when
That's
we
the
topple
no.
all these governments and steal their gold out of their vaults.
Now we're talking liquidating. We're talking about liquidating every one of their assets.
Yeah, mansions.
So what you're saying is they've got a
castles.
lot of that electronic money.
Yes, that's no good to anyone else but them.
Yeah, they have a lot of bonds.
As long as we have confidence in that $20 bill,
As long as we have confidence.
Really,
then that's
as
really
long
worth
as-
is whatever they say it is.
As long as you have confidence in the Rothschilds, is basically what it is.
But I
'Cause
think the real
Rothschilds
question
are the
here
ones-
is-
the Rothschilds are the ones who pretty much own the Federal Reserve.
But I think the real question here is, are we comfortable with giving that sort of power to a non-government, non-federal entity? And as
Well,
much as
Let me ask you this: Are you comfortable giving it to a government?
Well, and
entity?
that's
Well,
what I
number
just
one,
said.
we
As
didn't
much
give it
as
to anybody. They took it.
You're-
They took it.
and you know what? That's
That's
a great
true.
point.
They took it with an
in
ingenious.
secret.
Really, the plan was ingenious.
in secret,
And
behind
really-
our backs, without the approval of the American public,
I mean,
without
it
the approval of
wasn't.
Congress
It
or
wasn't even
Senate.
really in secret because Rothschild said in a quote, "I don't care what puppet is placed on England's throne. The man who controls Britain's money supply controls Britain, and I
Right.
control the money supply."
Right. Well, I'm talking
So
about.
he didn't do this necessarily, quietly.
Fair enough, but I'm talking about the American the American Federal Reserve. See, that's older in England. I'm talking about the American Federal Reserve.
Well, that's what he started. The Rothschild started over in England. He gobbled up all their assets, sending all this, what were the banks?
Right. Well,
you know?
and in the next episode, we will definitely explain a lot of the connections between the Rothschild family and the American Federal Reserve. But what are you guys thinking right now, man? I mean, because from everything that I've learned about this Federal Reserve, man, this is all bad news.
What you guys are telling me is you're basically scared of the way money works.
No,
That's what it sounds like. I mean, this is the way money's worked since it's really been like a worldwide thing.
Since you changed gold coins for cash.
Well, since there had to be an easy way for currency
paper,
for
right.
worldwide
Yeah,
trade,
yeah.
there had to be an easy way for money to go back and forth.
Fair enough.
So that was completely necessary to create something like this, at least for America.
No, okay, so what was necessary was the United States Treasury, by Constitution, is responsible for printing America's money. By the
not a private organization.
Constitution.
Well, maybe they lease that out. I mean, they oversee it.
Do you know that they oversee it? Because I don't know. That they
I
do.
like your style.
He thinks
I don't know that they
I don't
oversee
think it's a good idea to subcontract
Well, they-
out something like this.
They sell those fucking bonds to them, so that's kind of the same.
I mean, you're going to.
They can't.
And you
The reserve just can't go. I'm creating all this money without the order for the bond, can they?
They can do what they want.
They
I mean,
control the
yes,
money.
they can. Okay, so
control
here
the
was
money.
something that I thought.
So
was
there's no
interesting.
oversight, is what you're telling me.
There's
No
no
oversight
oversight.
No,
whatsoever.
the oversight is the Federal Open Market Committee. The 5 people at the top. That's their oversight. That's
I need
who
to look
makes
into
the
these
decisions.
fools.
Yeah,
Is that part 2?
No, that part 2 is the Rothschild connection and why it is all bad.
Oh, I want to talk a little bit about those 5 in part 2 as
Definitely. Okay, so here's something I thought was interesting. The Federal Reserve loans money to the United States government, which they tax the public to pay for all of the interest that they're accumulating there. So if you guys want to, I'm going to do a little reaching here.
well. Oh, God.
Yeah, okay, so the Federal Reserve started in 1913. Do you guys know what else started in 1913?
Yeah, swing music.
Federal income tax.
Interesting.
Federal income tax started in 1913. Prior to 1913, you got to keep all of your paycheck. There was no.
How much does federal income tax take out of your check nowadays?
I don't know federal. I know states over 6% though, but I'm not sure federal. Federal's quite a
Somebody
bit.
told me upwards
Well,
of 30-40%.
It changes depending on your income.
Yeah,
Well, right.
right. I think I'm 22. I'm not honestly not sure.
A shit
but
ton.
A lot, right?
A
Okay,
lot.
so but prior to
Let's just say a lot.
1913,
I'm proud to play it, though. I'm just saying.
and this is where I'm reaching.
Yeah, I agree.
Prior to 1913 and prior to the Federal Reserve, there were no federal income taxes. So the government starts borrowing money from the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve is requiring interest back on that money that they loaned, of course, like any other banking institution would. And in order to pay for that, the federal government enacts the Federal Income Tax Act. I believe that's what it's called. Federal Income Tax Act, and to pay for the interest that they borrowed the money from the Federal Reserve.
Sure.
Like I said, and that's all speculation, but I thought that was very interesting how the federal income tax started in 1913 at the same time that we started borrowing money from a private bank.
From a private bank, the government.
Yeah.
Right.
That's called federal.
Right.
Federal. It ain't federal at all.
There's a
No federal to it. Nope. It's the reserve. It's a big money
I
ball.
mean, would you rather have this a private organization? I mean, the Constitution says it should be ran by the government.
Yeah. And I mean, and who am I to, I talk all the time big about
I mean-
constitutions, our rights. You don't want to give up one right for the other. And if it's in the Constitution, I'm inclined to think that
I mean,
that's maybe the way we should
You
go.
would think the executive branch of the government would run this. You know,
I mean, yeah, exactly.
I mean, this is such a
You
big
don't want
part.
to do-
You wouldn't
it
have
has
to
I don't want
have
the
to-
executive branch running. He's got enough on his plate already.
Well, he's gonna have more.
One more
I mean,
thing I wanted to talk about.
Sure, because he's so effective at what he's
was
got
there's
now.
a really, really
That's a
interesting
different story.
theory as to what was done to create the Federal Reserve. And I'm going to pass this to Sean right now, but it's about the Titanic. And this is a really, really
I
good
like this
thought.
one.
This was very interesting. I
Oh,
thought.
yeah,
And Sean really liked this, so I was like,
I thought it was
give it your best, baby.
foreshadowing is always cool. Back in what was it, 1898?
Yes, sir.
So that'd been 14 years earlier. They wrote a novel called Futility came out. It was about a ship called Titan, in which they quoted was unsinkable. In the novel, it was hit by an iceberg, and then 14 years later, sure enough, Titanic does the same thing. And what's most interesting about this,
What was better than that was
but what's better than that is, what was it, four or five the wealthiest people were on that ship?
Yeah, that was pretty
on the
nice.
Titanic.
Well,
I was
the
talking about
Titanic-
the correlation between the Titan in the book. What was it, Futility, or what was it? Sorry.
Futility.
Futility. Okay, so the similarities between the actual Titanic crash and the crash in that book. Now, mind you, this is 14 years before the actual crash. Titanic happened in 1912. They were both made to be unsinkable. They were big, the biggest ships in the sea. You know what I mean?
It's a coincidence, but
It is a coincidence in all reality, but I like to point the fact out that they both, in the book and in real life, had major loss of life due to not being enough lifeboats.
Well, right. And what's big on that though is, John Astor was known as the richest man at the time, who actually opposed,
He did not want any central banking
he didn't want
in
central
America.
banking. He opposed Rothschild strongly,
Yeah, he did not like
and
the
he's one
influence
of
that they were
them
bringing.
who died on that.
Yeah,
So,
there were 3 or 4.
going back to our assassination.
Who all was
of
it?
the president.
Now there were multiple powerful
Yeah, it was like
and
Dane
instrumental.
Guggenheim, Isidore Straub, who's actually I guess they own the chain of Macy's. His family does now.
Oh, the Macy's owners, right?
Right.
Okay.
And then John Astor. So the 3 biggest people that were opposing him so happened to
Right
die
now.
just like that.
Now again, what we're saying, these are your Bill
I mean-
Gateses, these are your George Soros, your Warren Buffetts, these are your major, rich, powerful, influential figures of the time. There were 3 of them major that very, very much opposed the Federal Reserve, and they were all on the Titanic. And one of the now again, I don't know how you can make a Titanic crash into an iceberg, but that's part of the theory that they sunk the Titanic to start the Federal Reserve, because those were 3 guys that were strictly opposed to
It's
it.
one way to get rid of your opponents.
Well, that's what they've been doing throughout
just
history.
like-
Get rid of the opposition,
Yeah,
man. All the presidents, Kennedy,
What,
Lincoln,
four
Garfield.
presidents, 4 presidents assassinated?
3, I think, right?
Yeah, come on,
And then all these top guys. So, I mean, the Federal Reserve is shrouded in very shady stuff.
When you meet on an island, in the middle of the night.
Yeah, that's got to tell you something.
Come on.
When your pretext
Come
for
on.
starting it is, let's have a secret meeting on an island.
Yeah, secret meetings are never like,
It's a secret meeting.
Well,
we're not, or maybe they're planning a surprise party.
Let me put this.
Yeah.
Nothing
Really,
good
it's a
ever came
secret-
from a secret meeting.
Yeah,
Come on,
they're
now.
not planning a
Yeah,
birthday
you're
party
not playing
here.
a birthday party here.
Right.
Benefit of the doubt.
So,
We're not gonna have some beers.
to wrap up this episode, what are you guys' final thoughts so far on the Federal Reserve?
Shit's
We've got
shady.
a lot more for part 2.
But I can't think of a better way to do it. So
I'm kind of with you. It's unconstitutional, but the outcome of
I don't
its
necessarily agree with that.
the outcome of its downfall. It seems like someone's gonna have to pay that price, and I don't know if I want it to be my generation.
Yeah, I mean, is the Federal Reserve just making money like any other great American dream was, to come here to make money to
I
do?
mean,
That's the
that's
American dream,
what
the
they're
people
doing.
that started the Federal Reserve. I mean, are we
that's-
all just
that's
mad
what-
because we didn't think of it first, or
A lot of people say,
what's
what
going
happened
on?
to the American
I
dream?
mean, a lot
I
of
say
people
you're
may not
looking at
like
it.
this, but
yeah,
really,
there's only like 15 people that
but
get to
really
live the American dream
Rothschild,
now.
I mean
1%.
Rothschild and all his ruthlessness. I mean, this was a great idea. It was a great idea.
I mean,
That's
I
fair.
mean, you got to give it to him.
sure. I mean, sure.
I mean, a lot.
If
of
I was a
lot of
shady
us would
motherfucker,
say-
I'd do the same thing.
I
Exactly.
mean, I don't know, man. When it comes to your family being set up for life, your friends being set up for life, more.
You sound like a sympathizer here, pal.
Maybe.
Sean bringing a different angle.
Yo, this motherfucker ain't one of us.
Yo, get him, yo.
You saw my wire.
All right. Well, that
All right,
sounds.
well, we are going to end the show this week.
Well, for the first half this week.
For the first half, but we will be streaming the second half.
Yeah,
here,
live
so-
streamers, stick around. We'll have another post on Facebook. We'll be back in a short. If you're live streaming right now, hello. Hit the little subscribe button and keep an eye out. We'll be right back on here after a short little break. Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But remember to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Surreal Talk. Or you can find us on Twitter at Surreal Talk Show. And you can also find a live video recording for every single show that we're going to do from now on YouTube. Just search for Surreal Talk live stream and you should be able to find us pretty easily. It's not that hard. As we come to, as we get some more YouTube subscribers, we'll get our own YouTube custom URL, so it'll be a bit easier. But that's this time.
Yeah, I'm thinking
we're just starting.
YouTube.com/Surreal Talk Show or something corny.
Yeah.
Something direct.
Also, remember to give us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, Google Play, or whatever your favorite podcast provider is. I like Podbean. 5 stars would be nice, but we really would just like to know what you guys honestly think of us.
Honestly, I mean, we're not going to get any better without.
It's not.
See, we got a good review the other day. It was a 4-star, and I'm going to bring it up. I know you'd rather I didn't. On iTunes. It was a 4-star review. It was from a woman who said she loved the show. We're doing great, which we appreciate. Thank you. But she was getting a little sick of our shit when it comes to the sexist remarks.
I didn't think we were very. I didn't think we were very sexist at all.
Well, she didn't say exactly who she was talking about, but I think we all know. And I think we've all got the point. All right. Anyway.
Okay. So.
Moving on.
Also, if you'd like to ask it a question or reach us directly, or whatever reason you want to talk to us, shoot the shit, chatter, talk about some show ideas, give us some suggestions, tell us we suck, tell us you love us, whatever, you can email us at info@surrealtalkpodcast.com. That's info@surrealtalkpodcast.com. I spelled it out for you, baby.
Well done.
And always remember to please like, comment, share, subscribe, anything that'll help us out. Get on Facebook. Find us on Facebook.
Yeah, how are we going to be famous if our loyal fans don't?
Right. We would love
like we're
to
doing
do
this to be
for a
famous.
living and just bring you shows constantly.
That
That would be what we want to do.
God, that's never going to happen. I'm sure of it.
Oh God,
I'm just
wouldn't it be great?
It would be.
And they can help. They can help us achieve that greatness by liking, comment, and sharing.
They can at least make life a little easier.
But everyone, thanks for listening to the first half of our premiere episode of Surreal Talk. This has been a lineupmedia.fm production, and on behalf of Big E, Sean, and myself, have a good day.
Bye, everybody. See you in part 2, YouTubers.